Let's bring it back home. The non-profit trade movement FairPlay, together with local organisation Proudly South Africa and trade unions, launching a campaign to promote the consumption of local chicken. The Buy Local Chicken campaign is aimed at retailers and wholesalers that buy significant quantities of imported chicken from producers that may be engaging in predatory trade practices. I want to talk now to Francois Baird, who is the founder of FairPlay. Francois, good afternoon to you. Ultimately, it all comes down to cost, price, doesn't it? It's about chickens from abroad simply being landed cheaper in this country. How are you going to change people's perceptions?
Well, firstly, it started with the example of the cotton industry, where Mr. Price led the revival of the cotton industry by placing millions of orders for T-shirts for local cotton-made T-shirts. And we think the retailers can play a similar role with the revival and the growth of the chicken industry. As we know, South African chicken industry is one of the most competitive in the world, top 5 or 6 every year. So it's not a question of not being able to compete. What we are worried about is the effect of dumping, which is foreign countries' manufacturers selling their chicken at lower prices artificially because they get supported. And so what we are hoping is to remind everyone that every bite of South African chicken feeds a South African job. Right now, in the middle of this COVID pandemic, where the vaccine has not yet been made available and society has not moved on to a new era of growth, we think it's exceptionally important to support South African jobs. And remember that it's South Africans who shop at our retailers, and therefore they also have a responsibility, and in fact it's in their interest to make sure that they support the South African-made products. We're starting with chicken. We hope that this will take place across the board of South African-made products.
Your challenge, of course, and it's a difficult one, is to stop the dumping. And there's been little or no activity from government in that respect, has there?
Well, we think there's been some progress because the master plan for the chicken industry, which, as you know, is the biggest sector in agriculture, was signed by all the participants last year, and already more than R1 billion has been committed to growing the industry by the local South African chicken producers. We think government will act to stop some of these matters. We also think anti-dumping action should be taken in terms of the WTO rules. So I think it's a broad-based attack on dumping that is now finally coming to a head, hopefully in the new year. But one of the most important parts of that is, in the meantime, that we look after South African jobs, and every bite of South African chicken feeds a South African job.
Have you set targets with this campaign, I wonder?
We haven't been able to set targets. We're learning as we go along. So we're launching the campaign now. We hope to keep it going all year next year. And so hopefully by the time we speak in December next year, we'll be able to tell you what we've achieved.
Well, we'll keep a close eye on that. Francois Baird from FairPlay, thank you very much for joining us.